Joe Scarborough allows Mika Brzezinski to speak over on Morning Joe, and it's fascinating to watch her try to think. Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel. This is the Doug TenNapel channel. I'm here for the happy patriots. I'm here to encourage you. I'm here to make you laugh. I'm here to help you shake a fist at the left. We got Trump elected. We destroyed Kamala Harris's campaign, and we laughed the whole way. We laughed, we cried, we kissed 4 years goodbye. And now it is time for the rebuilding of America, and the left is just so important that they not understand what happened. And they're doing a pretty good job of it.
Following a lot of the different aspects of what happened here, and I think a major part of it, and as we talk about the Democrats, I sometimes feel like we over-talk about that, and then it leaves out.
So she has just now talked for 11 seconds on that clip, and she has literally said nothing. Go back and play it again. This is all word salad. I think some of Kamala has made everyone's IQ drop a little for all of us being exposed to her. She's kind of like an airborne hepatitis.
Other reasons why this election was lost by the Democrats, and that would be disinformation.
Ah, there you go. Okay, now we have something to talk about. The Democrats lost because of disinformation. Now what she means is right-wing disinformation, because of all that right-wing disinformation out there. Meanwhile, her own network and her own show is one of the largest purveyors of disinformation to the left, which blinded the liberals into both thinking that Kamala had a chance, she was ahead, there was no need to go and attack Trump on actual issues, they could just call him Hitler. They are actually guilty of more misinformation. And she's still hunting and fishing, asking this guy, we lost because of right-wing disinformation, right?
And Michael, you were writing about, why doesn't anyone talk about the real reason Trump won? And you're talking about right-wing media in part.
Now, the real reason that Trump won, most of us can just roll out of bed and figure it out. You don't need to be a professor or have an electron microscope, all right? We all saw the southern border. We know that polled well. People watching an invasion going, hey, we don't like it. We also all saw the economy where our friends, they were paying too much money. They didn't feel like the opportunities were going well. Their interest rates on their homes were going up. Things started tightening a little, and we saw the lack of plan from the Democrats, and it just made people scared for the future. They just go, hey, no, they will not even admit that this is happening. So those are the two, I think those are the two big ones. And that was not because of media. It just penetrated because it was the cold, hard facts of the truth coming up and punching you in the face. There's a lot of things that we will not often face firsthand. I may not firsthand face an abortion. I may not firsthand face a trans person, but everyone, even that trans person, had to pay $7 for a stick of butter and goes, hey, what's this?
There were immediate reasons that had to do with inflation, the economy, and so forth. But what I was trying to draw readers' attention to with this column is a longer historical problem that I've watched develop over the last 30 years.
And now this guy does the same thing. He's been talking for 13 seconds. He literally has not communicated an idea yet. It's like, dude, get to it. This is why your TV network is dying and why my show keeps growing for as long as they allow me to exist on this platform.
Which is the tremendous growth in size and influence of the right-wing media in this country.
Thank you. There's only one thing that can keep this right-wing media channel from growing, and that's the left-wing totalitarians that try and take it down. People regularly reporting these channels, AI, turning them in. I just had to deal with one of those fights, and we won. But just so you know, the right-wing media would be bigger if it was ever given the same chance as left-wing media. In fact, left-wing media, no one believes it. No one wants to see it. It's jammed down their throats. It's all the product on the shelf that they can buy. So when they finally go to some little tiny island and they go, look, it's right-wing media, they devour it because it's actually rare. It's like a diamond. Left-wing owns all of media, so nobody cares. And they're tired of the lies.
When we talk about the media, usually in shorthand, we say the media this, the media that, as if it's one thing. But actually in this country, we have two medias, and I think it's very important for people to understand this. There's a mainstream media, which is, the networks and the New York Times and so forth, and then there's a right-wing media. And when we think of right-wing media, we all think first of Fox News, but it's much larger and vaster than that.
Okay, and right-wing media is not necessarily Fox News. Fox News is where those of us on the hard right, I think of Fox News as pretty center, almost to the left. Like it's so bland. They have no idea what right-wing is. And I'm not talking about crazy QAnon, spaceship and lizard aliens. I'm not talking about Alex Jones. Okay, and he's entertainment, but I'm just saying, there's a huge, solid right-wing media, like stuff where we cover Margie Taylor Greene, Mike Johnson, Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, Rick Scott, more right-wingy. That's all I'm saying. He doesn't understand that traditional media is almost all left-wing. It is all the left. CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, every sitcom that is made, nearly every Netflix series made, every Amazon Prime series made, basically the kinds of information people consume, including video games that are all coming out of Electronic Arts, they are left-wing media, all of them. Disney, 100% left wing, all of it. The mainstream stuff, normal children's channels, Nickelodeon, normal stuff. It is all left wing.
There are other cable networks. There's talk radio, right-wing talk radio, which is everywhere across this country. There's right-wing Christian radio.
And it's so small and so not influential. And I listen to Christian radio. I listen to even right-wing radio. I listen to Christian radio. Christian radio is not going around telling people what to think about the southern border. They're not making fun of the economy and saying someone ran this into a ditch. So they're not as politically active as this guy claims. It's not an even playing field. And I'm happy that you're not learning. I don't want you guys to learn to figure it out by the next election, what you guys did wrong and what Trump did right.
Right-wing networks have bought up local television, local radio.
Literal lie. Meanwhile, George Soros just now went in and swept and bought 200 conservative radio stations, one of them even instantly kicking Mark Levin off the air. So this guy, it's MSNBC guys, they can't help but lie.
Some local newspapers.
Oh, yeah. We're all going to those local newspapers for the big debate. The big debate on the opinion section of my local newspaper is where I find out about the border. Ooh.
And then there's this whole world of social media and podcasters that is just absolutely vast.
Now, that's true. The ones that don't censor conservative content, which is most of them, let's face it, both sides are allowed to show up, but they do have a pretty hardcore iron hand on conservatives because we would flat out take over every platform if they ever let us operate within a free market. So they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Add it all up, it's tremendously influential, and it really does, more than the mainstream media these days, I think, Mika, set the terms of our political conversation.
Well, certainly on the right, but at least on podcasts and social media, both sides are allowed to show up. And so that's why people go to the both sides channels instead of going to cable. Your cable TV, MSNBC, and all those other ones, you only have Fox News maybe to choose from, maybe Newsmax. So boring. Podcasts are where it's at. YouTube is where it's at. Joe Rogan's more popular than anyone. Little YouTube channels, this channel. We have a great time on here. We have more fun, frankly, than they have over at MSNBC. Look at these guys. It looks like they're at a funeral.
And do you think that are we also talking about disinformation? Or
nice try. She had to work that one in. But what about the misinformation? Do we get any of that on the right wing?
Disinformation, or just a lean to the right in terms of how the point of view that is presented?
Well, sure, there's both.
There's both. It's both and for MIKA. They don't know the difference between just something leaning right and they label all of that automatically misinformation. To them, they're the same. There's no such thing as right-leaning news, right-leaning opinion that is not misinformation, disinformation. That's the kind of lies that they spew on their platforms. And really, in the end, the independent platform, I believe it's going to be X, is going to beat them all because it is the one that is the most open to others and professionally made. So that rules out Rumble. I'm Doug in exile. Thanks for subscribing. You got to check out some of our t-shirts down below.